Grave Reviews, this is Chris.
Have you trapped the children?
There's no children here. It's not safe for them.
This is Alan, and Chris is right. Grave Reviews is intended for mature audiences. Your discretion is advised. Grave Reviews presents Thursday Night Frights. Chris, how are you this evening, sir?
I am doing well, sir. Doing well. How about yourself?
I am so glad to hear that. I am doing very well. Thank you for asking. Looks like we've got some people already in the chat room tonight. I'm so excited. Hello, Talking Dead. Welcome to the show. So, Tina's in. We see that. LG is here. She wields the blue wrench of power. Stronger than Mjolnir, I will say. We've got Darren here. Thank you, Darren, for coming. And of course, I know Mar is out there. Yes, there she is.
Absolutely.
And so I have to, I have to say I'm remiss for this. Last week, Darren came into our chat. We did dub him a member of the Talking Dead, but we did not play him our welcome tune, did we?
Yes, we got to welcome him properly.
We have to. So, Darren, this one goes out to you. This is our welcome tune. You are indeed one of us. Hail to Darren, a member of the Talking Dead. We love the fact that you're here tonight. We appreciate you just being a part of the Talking Dead army. Ubaldo just came into the room. Thank you, Mr. Ubaldo. So listen, we are still pushing for that 250 sub mark by the end of May. We're relying on you, our people, our Talking Dead, to help us get there. Please, if you know anyone that you think might be even slightly interested in listening to two guys who absolutely love horror, talk about shit movies like Sharknado, let them know about us. Tell them that we're here, and let them know that there's no fees to be a member. All you have to do is show up, and we don you and crescent you a member of the Talking Dead, and you get to come in, and eventually we're going to get to a point where you're going to be able to choose some of the movies that we review as well. So there's that.
Right.
Little
so welcome new members, welcome original members. Everyone, welcome, like, share, sub if you haven't already, ring the bell. It'll give you a little notification. Hey, those two idiots are on. And you'll be like, oh, I got to go see them. And then you come in the dead, and you become part of the Talking Dead in our Living Dead room. And welcome.
Welcome, absolutely, and you'll also get to see the new show that we're doing on Tuesdays. We're pre-recording. This is a show called Tuesdays Terrors. At which point in time, we're literally taking a very relaxed, two guys and a friend, maybe, depending if we have guests, right? You're just sitting back, okay, here's the way I pitched it to Chris. You ever went to see a movie? Everyone goes to the theater with movies with friends, right? And then you stand around and either that night or the next day, and you're just talking about the movie, just like, hey, man, I really like the movie. I like this. I like that, blah, 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 blah. That's what this Tuesday Night Terrors is supposed to be like. It's just sitting back, having a very high...
reviewing, just reminiscing, maybe.
Yeah.
And talking about a movie, a series, a show. We don't know. Maybe something else. Horror.
Horror. Absolutely. Last week, if you haven't seen it yet, we talked about the importance of Friday the 13th and what it meant to us as teenagers seeing it and what it means to the industry and pop culture as a whole. This coming Tuesday, we're going to be talking about The Crow, 30th anniversary of the Brandon Lee.
Just hit this past Saturday.
Yeah, so that's going to be a fun time too. So be sure to let some people know. Stop by and see it. Again, we want to know what you're thinking. So this is definitely one where you guys can get involved and let us know on this. So Chris, what is our contact information as far as where will they find how to get Grave Review shirts, how to find us on TikTok, and where to find our email address?
Best way to check out all of our socials. LG will be the wonderful woman in blue putting it in the chat. We go to bio.link/graverev. That will give you a link to our Insta, to our Facebook, to our TikTok, to our merch. Some ghoulish gear in there. You should check it out.
It has our email address, a link to it as well, so you'll be able to actually get on there and like now, that the crow's coming up. Be sure to send us an email, or in this
Yes.
video, leave us a comment on what it is that you loved about that movie, so that we can take that into consideration while we're talking about it.
Absolutely.
Your views are our views as well. So that being said, Chris, let's talk about LG's favorite movie. And
2013 straight to TV. Made TV. All about TV. Sharknado.
actually had a theatrical release for one day.
One day. Yeah, you can see it. At the same time, I think it was on TV.
Yeah, it was a one-day release. Actually, it was like a month later. They showed it at one theater for one day, just so that they could say they had a theatrical release on this movie.
Yeah, $2 million budget. It doesn't even count a box office for what it might have made. This is a movie that started off with a name, not a story, and it just found its way to a story that could be tweaked enough.
Okay, so there's 10 people as of right at this moment watching here on YouTube, so you have access to the chat. Do me a favor, let me know, give me a why in the chat room real quick if you've actually watched Sharknado, because if you haven't, we're going to scold you, just so you know, as parents do. We do it with love, just like your parents did, right? We're going to scold you a little bit because you need to watch this little. Um, oh, okay. So it was re-released in theaters last year. Of course, LG would know this.
Of course, there's a reason why she knows it. She loved this movie from the beginning, and honestly, it has become a pop culture icon.
It has.
The sequels that spawned from this, everybody wanted in on it. We went from a show that nobody wanted to touch at all, even script wise, name wise. Sci-fi was like, we're gonna do it, and
Yes.
they did it, and they took it maybe a little too seriously with this movie, but it spawned just a phenomena where we finally got Shark Week to take them at 2021 and be like, okay, we'll mention them.
Yeah.
What's the real Sharknado?
It's funny because the actors were all hired on under the working title Dark Skies.
Yeah,
And after about a month of shooting or so, the director who says he was the first person to come up with the name Sharknado, um, gets all excited and comes to them all and tells them that they're going to name it actually Sharknado. And the cast revolted.
they were like, no way.
Yeah, they're like, that is not going to happen. I want out. I refuse to do this. It's going to kill my career. Ian Ziering literally said that he went from there and immediately went to the bathroom, called his agent, and said, "Get me out of here," right? And his agent talked him out of it down and said, "Listen,
What else are you doing? Oh, I mean, sorry.
yeah, it's like he said, Ian, your wife's pregnant. You have a child coming. You need this money for one, and for two, no one's going to see this movie.
No
It's
one's going to
gonna
see
go
this movie. It's
straight
going to be
to
straight to
video.
TV.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. And he came back and he goes, you know what? Fine, Sharknado's okay with me. Blah blah blah. At its release on a Wednesday, which Sci-Fi always did Saturdays, right?
Yeah, right.
On a Wednesday night, at one point on Twitter, hashtag Sharknado was being texted 5,000 times a minute while it was playing.
Right.
It blew up.
It blew Sci-Fi up.
Yes.
Just this movie was going to be one of those silly straight to TV movies. You had all of the big bangers doing them for these goofy, cheesy movies that they were going to pull off, and
Giant shark versus octo something.
I tell you what, Ian Ziering and Tara Reid made bank off of these movies.
Oh my god, they made so much money. Oh my god, they made so much money.
And I do like the fact that this one is iconic, but the sequels, especially that spawned off of it, went deep into the comedy and turned it
Yes.
into a straight comedy, which made it even better.
But it did. I
Yeah.
actually like 2 better than 1. It's one of the very few movies that I can honestly say that, okay, you ready? Me saying that I like 2 better than 1 is like me saying I liked Empire Strike Back better than A New Hope. Take that sample.
We're in agreement on that one. Right. There are no winners here.
Yeah, there is no winner in this one. This is absolutely true, and you're right. You're right, LG. I would have actually probably have rather have just watched both this one and the second one and did it as a single review because there would have been more to talk about.
There's quite a bit here. I mean, we got death by the numbers here. There are 32 deaths in this movie. 19 of them are sharks, but still.
It's so bad. It's funny. I just so everyone knows, I told Chris before we got started. I said, "Hey, I don't know how we're going to do an hour-long review of this because it's pretty much the same joke over and over again."
It is.
But I will also say this: I'm sorry, Kelly. I'm sorry, LG. I have some real beef with this movie as well. So I'm going to air that beef tonight. Please don't be mad at me because I'm going to air the beef. But I also love it. Right? I love. Where's the beef? It's in this fucking movie. Trust me.
You have to watch this movie. I mean, we start off in a trawler, which, if you look in the shots, we go from a trawler to a sailboat to I'm not sure what that is in the water, to back and forth shots that they're all over the place. But we're 20 miles off of Mexico.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, fishing for shark fins, illegal. And they're cutting up shark fins, and they're having a business meeting on the trawler. Like, they brought the guy that's going to buy all of this stuff with them. Okay, I'm not sure how that works, but big deal, $1 million deal, because there's 20,000 sharks headed this way.
And it's funny, they're playing with the fact that the whole shark fin industry is an illegal industry, right?
Right.
So they're trying to be geopolitical. At one point in time, they even say, "Oh, this is all about global warming." I mean, they tried to do, but man, did they fail in it? But it's still wonderfully beautiful. Continue, sir.
Right. Yeah. So not only is this pod of 20,000 sharks on its way, but apparently there's a hurricane coming to California, and first hurricane ever, crazy storm, and nobody seems to care at all,
No.
which is great.
Well, do you blame them for not caring? I mean, seriously, because it looks like the world's going to end in one shot, and the very next part of the same scene, it looks beautiful and sunny. And then the very next shot, it's beautiful and sunny. Or
I have a
waves are
theory.
12 feet tall, and the next shot, it's a perfectly calm
Okay, there's a house full of water with 4 feet deep, and it busts out the doors to the puddles on the streets. It doesn't supposed to make sense.
None of this makes sense to me.
So
Continuity issues in this movie are one of my pet peeves, by the way.
it is, and it's part of the fun, because
It is.
we start off from $100,000 deal to $1 million deal, and they agree to $1 million deal because countless shark fins are going to be coming.
Yes.
In which case, I believe the businessman just sits back down, and the captain goes back out to making some delicious shark fin soup. And they run into a problem, a hurricane, which is apparently ahead of the pod of 20,000 sharks. Shows up, flowing the sharks into the boat, eating the crew.
So for those of you who don't know, apparently, when a shark is on a boat or on land and it can't breathe, its only purpose at that point in time is to eat everything around it.
Listen, I play the game on the computer Maneater, and that's what you do. You jump out of the water, you wriggle a bunch of stuff in order to get the swimmers.
That's awesome.
Seems
Seems perfectly normal.
Perfectly legitimate. So, of course, this point, the businessman decides that he is no longer going to honor his end of the deal and is going to go to the other end of the boat.
Yes.
Gets shot, gets eaten. Captain standing there all alone. and pays the price by having sharks slowly eat his face as they spin around him.
Okay, so I have to admit this. Okay, horribly done. The CGI is like it's like it literally is like a fifth grader with his crayons, but it's so funny watching him sit there and go
Ah,
as you see
ah.
this rubber fake shark go past, right,
For sure.
and all of a sudden a part of his face up as I knock my part of his face is missing. You can tell how excited I got there. I was
I can
cracking
imagine.
up. I was laughing so hard.
The best line of this entire thing is when they're down doing the shady deal and a thump on the boat, and the boat does this. He's like, "Oh, what's that?" They're called waves, and
It
they
happens
do that from time
right?
to time.
That oh, okay. So the dialogue in this movie feels like it was written on the day of the shoot. I mean,
Right,
it
on toilet paper.
yeah.
Well, somebody sat in the stall. He ran out of bathroom stall to write on.
He's
So,
like, you know what would be really funny? It would be funny if you'd go, "Oh, they're waves. That happens from time
they're
to
waves.
time." And again, while this is going on, right at the very
Right,
beginning of the shot, you see this beautiful sailboat, like 200 yards away. That boat is nowhere to be seen ever again.
right, ever. Gone.
Mm.
The hurricane is now sneaking up on California.
And it's
Category
apparently
four,
sinking.
5. It'll be the worst. It'll be the first and the worst to ever hit. Right in California there. Um, we switch to a bar scene where we get a nice shot of Nova's leg. She's
Yeah,
got some scarring on her leg, and she's got some nice legs. Good shot.
Cassie Scarbo.
Skirbo. Yes.
Skirbo. Beautiful young lady. Very, very, very wonderful in this role. Um, I liked her in this role much better than I liked Tara Reid in any part of this movie.
Yeah.
When
She
we
was the
get,
one that you didn't want to be with Tara Reid in this movie. She was angry.
she
Um,
was
she's a woman scorned. We're not really sure for what. I think it's mainly because Finn cares about everyone.
yeah.
It's kind of what it come off as it comes
Yeah,
off.
she's like bitching that he's like, just like everything else, you're like, you care about everyone more than your family. He's like, I'm looking and going, no, he
It's,
actually cares about human beings. You are a biatch.
we'll get to the big part on that one.
Yeah.
But we're out there surfing. He's out there surfing. It shows that him and his friend Baz are the older generation walking down the beach. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Absolutely correct.
So, they go out surfing. Baz goes out on his jet ski, and he's flirting with a younger woman who calls him grandpa,
Right.
and knocks him off the
Deanna.
board. Deanna, yep. And he's yelling, "Sharks are coming! They're starting to circle in." The same water he's in, but they're over by Dina, and she ends up getting taken down and eaten right in front of him. He's yelling to shore to try to get everybody off off the beach because sharks are coming in.
Right.
And meanwhile, Baz is his friend over there on the jet ski has one jump on his leg and start gnawing on his leg. Thankfully, Finn shows up to knock the shark off and ride that jet ski back to beach to be safe. All the time, pandemonium is hitting. There are people running from the beach. There's sharks flopping on the beach. There's guys missing legs on the beach.
All right, so I have to interject something here. When they go running up the beach, right, and Baz is got the scratches, basically
Right.
how he was
This
just
thing was gnawing on his leg, but it was scratched.
when it was grabbing a hold and shaking that whole thing, right? And they run up the beach, and the guy is sitting there, which you can tell they've dug a hole in the sand.
Oh yeah,
His leg is in the sand, and then they've colored the stuff. Oh my god,
makeup.
I was laughing so flipping hard. I was like, "That is perfect." That
I
is
love in horror movies where you see something like this happen and you've got people running and they're trampling each other. But in this movie, you've got people that are throwing themselves down the stairs. And
how the guy got knocked off the stairs. I have no clue, but
how did this happen?
I'm there for it. I am here for this.
Yes, and LG brings up a great point is they get Baz on shore and a lifeguard runs right past the guy that has no leg and right to Baz with a medic kit that doesn't even have a damn tourniquet in. I don't think there's anything in his med kit,
No.
probably some crayons, because he doesn't do anything. They tourniquet his leg and, I guess take him to the hospital real quick. Hurricane's still there, but it backed off a little bit for plot reasons. Um,
You cannot have a better explanation than that.
right,
reasons,
plot
per-
reasons.
I mean,
What it
just-
was is they were filming, and that lens cover they had on there for the storm fell
Uh-huh.
off, and they were like, "Oh shit!" No, see, it spins, and the bad part spun away.
It spun and it threw sharks through the window of the bar.
What's sitting in the bar is great. Is they're telling stories about what just happened 5 minutes ago, but apparently it's a couple hours ago. We don't know. Continuity.
And the funny part about that scene is, to be honest with you, the funny part about that scene is that's exactly how guys are too.
Right.
You know, we're like,
Immediately.
and then the sky broke open.
Show 'em the look.
That was it. That was the look, you know?
So he gave him a look. You gave him a nibble. No. He gave me a nibble.
Yeah, it was just
Our
yeah.
friendly drunk at the bar, George. John heard. He tried.
Yeah. As Darren so poignantly pointed out earlier, John Hurd was doing his best Brian Wilson impression.
Absolutely. He was sitting at the bar, getting wasted, hitting on Nova. I mean, can't really blame him, but that's apparently his life. And of course, Finn is trying to get a hold of his ex-wife. He's worried about his kid. Yeah, no one cares right now. They're all which you see the waves outside. They're on the damn pier. Where do the waves come when they?
And not only that, okay, so God bless it, Nova again, beautiful woman, right? Her hair in this movie it was like Medusa from Marvel. It did its own thing.
It did.
Because at one moment you would see her and it would be beautifully fixed and blah 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 blah, and then and it would be raining, and then you would see that the sky was clear, and all of a sudden it's matted to her head.
Right.
I was cracking up. I was like, I want to know who her hairdresser is because I want to hire them.
Finn's calling home, and of course, that's where we see Tara Reid as his ex-wife or his wife, and Colin checked the drains. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
No, there's a hurricane coming. We live right on the beach. Like no. So we go running back and forth. Now the waves are coming. We got sharks smashing through the glass. Everybody's picking up weapons. We've got the bat, the shotgun. George grabs the bar stool, and they're all running out. Finn needs to get to his family
Yes.
because it's flooding, and I don't mean the plumbing.
No, no, not at all. Not at all. We have a new member in the Talking Dead, Mr. Professor Macabro. If I'm not mistaken, he joined us because we were with ETEP. So as we do,
Right.
anytime we have a new member come in, we say to you, first of all, welcome. You are a member of the Talking Dead,
Okay.
and we accept you. You are one of us. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate you, my friend. Please feel free to join the chat in any way possible. We love having you here.
You
Thank you.
are a member of the Talking Dead.
Yes, sir. So they finally get out of the restaurant, and they load up with guns, get everybody out of there, and
Yep.
for whatever reason, he wants to go save Tara Reid.
Yeah, mainly his daughter. So they all hop in the car,
Yes.
and this is where we kind of run into a spot where the road is blocked, but not really, because they do end up going around them. And it's like a New Yorker in the mix.
Yeah.
Where he goes, he's in California is always worried when it's raining. Think it's the end of the world, and they hop out uh, because they get past and the flooding's coming and they can't just leave everybody there. There's Finn caring about everybody. Got to get
Yep.
out and save some people. So they get out to save people. In the process, Nova almost gets eaten. She's got to shoot a shark in the face.
Okay, hold on. Just so we're clear, so everyone who's in the chat knows and understands what's going on now. The waters from the ocean are starting to rise through the sewers, and
Right.
and come over, and they're bringing the sharks with them, and the sharks are now swimming in a foot of water on the street.
Right. They are in,
Maybe.
which you can see in the rear view mirror, but the truck is parked, higher than the water,
Yes.
even though it's lower than the water. Anyway, they go to save them, and we lose our friend George. He saves a woman's dog in the car with the bar stool, which is the second time it's come in handy, and then he is eaten,
Yes, he is.
and he's yelling. I love how he's yelling, like, "Get off of me!"
Oh, literally, this is my imitation of him. Oh. Yeah, that's yeah. So I saw this video that someone posted about this movie that I absolutely freaking loved, which was he was like, apparently when you sign on to Sci-Fi Network, they have different levels of packages, and they all include him as an actor being part of the package.
Right. This is true.
Thank you, Professor. Exactly what I've been trying to get
Absolutely.
to. Oh,
We're
anyway.
with you. We're with you on this one. So they get back into the truck. We've lost George. They sadly take off. Of course, we got that whole, that's a tiger shark.
Yeah.
How'd you know that? Shark Week.
Oh, Shark Week.
Shark Week. They were nodding to it from the beginning. We get a tornado warning that there's a tornado that has spawned itself somewhere in California on its way to LA. They show up at April's house.
Uh-huh.
He comes running up, and she stops him at the door. Tara Reid's character, April, says, I told you not to come. Everything's fine. She doesn't have the Weather Channel,
Apparently,
or a radio, or look outside.
maybe dinner.
There's sharks coming out of the sluice pipes that are above the house. This looks like a ritzy neighborhood because this house is huge, yet they have giant culverts that empty into the backyards, apparently, of these people.
And quote unquote, there's sharks in your pool.
Yeah, there's a shark. That's impossible. Which was the best death we could get so far. Colin was a dick. He deserved to be eaten. You don't call a woman yours. They're not there to claim.
No.
And he was just a dick all around,
Yes, he was.
Don't step
He's
into the...
when he got eaten, I was like, okay.
Yeah. And this is the part where we find out after he's eaten that he's so much of a dick that not only does Finn have a daughter, but Finn has a son who's in flight school. And because Colin said not to tell you, nobody told you that your son, who, by the way, is 30 years old, is in flight school. Which...
You're like, you should probably have known this. They didn't need to tell you.
Right. The Real Housewives are on. She was... That's a good one.
Yes, it is.
So we've got 3 feet of water in this house. They're fighting with the shark, with the curio cabinet, and shotgun, punching it in the face. They finally get out of the house where there's no water anywhere.
No water. So there's 3 feet of water in the house and none outside the house. How does this... Oh, the continuity. How does this happen?
Yeah. So the house bursts from inside. So all the water, my guess, culvert pipe directly into the backyard. That's how the shark got in the swimming pool. They had a really strong fence behind that, which just funneled the water into the house. The house was holding all of it.
I love our chat room tonight. You've been able to be cracking up all night.
Right.
Oh, you guys are the greatest. I tell people all the time, we have the greatest chat room on the internet. They don't know why. You guys are killing me tonight. Oh, love it. Anyway,
Great
so
comments in there.
very
Great comments.
So they get out, or they fight the shark inside the house with a bureau
Yeah.
and win.
And win. They survived. It looks like it's that time of the month.
Some of the lines.
And nobody reacts to it, which was great. So yeah. So Matt's in flight school. Finn has a son in flight school. Fucking Colin, dick.
Yes.
The eye of the storm is now hitting downtown LA. Sharks are coming through the drains in the sewers, however. As they're driving down the road, Semper Paratus. What does it mean? Always be ready.
Always be ready.
It's motto for the Coast Guard. Always be prepared. Always ready. That's why I have lots of ammo in the glove box.
Which kills me, because if you remember, the gun that he has the ammo for, he got out from underneath the bar of the restaurant. So the gun's in the restaurant, but the ammo's in the car.
He's being safe.
But he's being prepared. So,
And prepared. Speaking of being prepared, they take off, and what do we find is there's a school bus stuck in the floodwaters that they're obviously not in.
Yes.
And Finn can't leave it. And this is one of those moments where April's character, she's like, you always care about everyone else but your own family. It's just a school bus full of kids back there, you psycho.
I've never, okay, I have to be honest here. I've never been a huge fan of Tara Reid as an actress anyway, but this movie made me hate her. Now, the sequels redeemed her, right?
Oh yeah.
But this movie made me hate. Yeah, somewhat made me hate her.
Yeah, she's not a likable character. We're finding out from this, like, it sounds like they make it out he's a deadbeat dad, but he's not really a deadbeat dad. It sounds like he's just a dumbass.
Yeah, and the daughter puts it out that she believes all the bullshit that her mom says.
Right.
Is basically what it boils down to. All right. So anyway, so they're trying to save the bus full of kids.
Yes. Thankfully, I have it written down here. We got it's sunny in the background, so they're definitely within the eye. I mean, or
Yes.
the filter fell again.
Yes.
We're not sure. Dude has like 300 plus feet of rope in the back of this truck. Like, he is prepared.
Yeah,
So either he was planning on scaling some tall buildings or kidnapping a bus full of children, and this was an opportunity.
He had to save a bus full of nuns holding babies.
Well, he got the bus and a bunch of kids.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Can you think of any one thing that would have made this repelling scene any better?
Where do we want to go with this?
Because I can.
What you got?
Don't mind. Let's watch and see.
All right.
Hand me down the shark repellent bat spray.
Adam West, he taught us way back then. Shark repellent bat spray. Damn it.
I love
Paul
the
Allen.
fact that when Robin reaches back, it literally says whale repellent.
Semper Paratus, mofo. Batman.
And if he would have not known that, because he was prepared, right? So he had the shark repellent bat spray in the glove box. Oh, it cut out. All right, let me play it again for you guys. Let me play it again.
Hand me down the shark repellent bat spray.
7 seconds of glory right there.
Perfect, man. This could have saved like most of the movie, but Gotham is nowhere near L.A. Can't blame them. I wouldn't go there near their L.A. either. But yeah, so we get these kids one by one repelled back up via rope. That probably took 36 hours.
Yes.
Or 36 minutes. We don't know.
Here was what I was thinking on this. Okay, first of all, that scene was horribly shot in the whole concept. I mean, they have one pulley and one guy pulling right next to the pulley.
But he had so much rope.
Yes. Why didn't they just like hook it to the front of the car and just back the car up, pull the kid up, and then it would have been so much
No
easier,
strap,
so much more sense. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. The movie's called Sharknado, not I'm Thinking Clearly as a director.
Right. Well, at this point, we're not sure why it's called Sharknado because we haven't really. It's a hurricane. It's a sharkicane at the moment.
Just and I love it when he
Shark
goes,
flooding.
it's a water spout. They draw water out. I'm like going, we need an explanation for that. No, thank you.
This movie does bring science into this a lot. I mean, there are moments where we're like, hey, this is totally legitimate. Like, this makes sense. This happened where fish were picked up and then dropped hundreds of miles. And while scientifically that did happen, not like this. A tornado did not suck up all of the sharks in the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah. You said this movie had
science. There was science. We'll get there. So we're
wait a minute. You didn't say it right though. You had to say this movie had science.
I don't know, man. So there was some science, but maybe like single quotes.
Yeah. small quotes.
Small quotes. Yeah, it's like a quote within a quote. So they finally get all these kids out. The bus driver's like, I want to leave now.
Yeah.
I want to go up right now.
My favorite line, I think, is "I'm from Wyoming." I'm not used to this.
As he's 15 grand a year, no benefits, screaming kids.
Yep.
I used to be afraid of heights, but now I'm away from the sharks.
There was some single liners in this movie that yeah. Sharks. I never saw that one coming.
Right. Yeah. So there's sharks jumping at Finn as he's trying to come up. Nova.
Oh my God, Dean, I love you.
That's true. They're scientists.
Oh my God.
A bit mad.
Oh, I don't, it's funny. I literally said to my wife earlier today, I said, I'm not sure how we're going to be able to cover this movie because one of two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to laugh my ass off all night or I'm going to be I'm going to be tearing it apart. I can't decide which. Thank you. Thank you to our chat room because the former instead of the latter.
Right.
Anyway, sorry about
we
that.
probably have one of those meth guys later when they start doing the science.
Yeah, no doubt.
So we get everybody out. Nova goes and runs and hugs Finn, which you can see like April over there, like, what the hell's this shit, And storm clears up again, which is good, convenient. It's sunny. The wind picks up though and proves that it's not safe in Hollywood.
Hold on.
As the bus driver says, my mom always told me Hollywood would kill me.
I love the fact that there were times in this movie where the wind was blowing this way, like this, and the wind was going this way.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I was just sitting there. I literally sat there going, "Oh."
Nobody, even the guys working the CG weren't even on the same page.
No, but hey, it works, right?
I love the Matrix moves, getting out of the way of the Hollywood sign letters. That bus driver almost made it. I think he got killed with the D. But yeah, he didn't make it. So let's pile back in the car. Nova's driving, and Jaws jumps on top of the car. and eats the roof.
It eats the roof. One of the best scenes in the movie. The CGI was beautifully done. It was so believable that the shark is out of water and on top of the roof and trying to still eat them.
With a perfect straight down chomp as it's laying down.
You could actually, if you watched it, you could actually see the teeth come through the roof and pull it all. It was great.
Pull it right out. Down to sharks now, like in the car, and Finn's poking him with a bat.
And of course, Nova, who is our true female lead, if you ask anyone involved.
Absolutely.
She's like, hold the wheel. She takes her shotgun and blows the shark. I loved this.
Boom.
The way the shark came off the roof, its head exploded and came back down in the street. I was like, that was so great.
And Darren brings up a good point. At one point, they did say that the shark is under the car, which leads to them all abandoning the car. They're out of the floods. They're under a road. Like, this is definitely under an overpass. No water, thankfully. They all jump out of the car because they smell gas.
So here's my question for the chat, for you, Chris.
Yeah.
Road goes like this, and then it dips down, and it goes under a bridge, and then it comes back up. But there's flooding to the shark can be before you go in the dip. But once you go in the dip, there's no water.
Well, maybe they were slowly going up, and the shark jumped on when there was water and was on top as they drove, to highland a bit.
I believe it. It's exactly what happened. Perfect. You explained it. It's science, right?
Science.
It's all science. It's all science.
Which helps the continuity here because apparently the shark not only did he eat the roof, but he ate the fuel lines.
Yes.
So they all run out, and the car explodes for absolutely no
Zero
reason at all.
Hey, all I can tell you is this: according to Sharknado, and this is your public service announcement. According to Sharknado, if you ever smell fuel in your vehicle, you need to run like hell because it's about
to get out. It's going to blow up, just
for
like Hollywood.
No reason.
Just like Hollywood says. This leads to our group now. The eye of the storm is over or not. We're not really sure. We go inside this establishment to the news saying, religious types are saying this is the apocalypse. The guy behind the counter is like, apocalypse, my ass.
It's the
government.
government.
The government. They know who we are, where we are, when we are. They know what kind of cheese I like. Pepper jack.
Best line in the movie is when he goes, sharks. Never saw that one coming. And the look on Ziering's face right here where he's like, okay, gotta go.
All right, we gotta leave now. Check. And the F4 tornado has been explained on the news. It sucked up all the water and the sharks. It is now here. They're like, look out the window. It's on them.
Yes.
Luckily, I think they stole this badass Jeep. Because
he literally, while they're in there with no vehicle, he says, we need a vehicle. And the guy's like, well, I can handle that. And they show across the street from where they're standing is a movie vehicle rental facility.
Right. Badass Jeep, jacked up.
Hummer I've ever seen in my life.
It's got everything, including a nitrous button. So they have to get through this closed off area where there's flooding, no flooding. There's shots were everywhere. They got to get to Matt, who's at an aviation school.
Right.
And the cops are like, no, you can't go through here. And they were like, we're going through here. And they take off in this tiny little animation of them running from the cops. And I swear it's the guy from GTA, like, pull over, pull your car to the side of the road.
It sounds like, it sounds just like it. I'm kidding you when he goes, is that a nitrous button? I went, oh my God, they're going to Fast and Furious this thing.
Yep. you got April and his daughter Claudia in the back, like, Dad, because he's running from the cops. And he's like, drive faster. They hit the button and they take off in the slowest fast shot
You can literally tell that the cop car behind it like hit the brakes and started to slow down.
Yeah, and then they're like on these little alleyways, and like it's doing these little jerky turn for no reason. It's going straight down an alley, but they got
And
away.
the reaction inside the car where the girls were all like, "Oh," and,
Yeah.
"Oh."
And it looks like they're doing 25, but they
I
sped it
know.
up
It's
to
like,
where he's doing 50. It
I
was
was
awesome.
laughing so hard. I was like, "Oh my god,
It
that's
was,
so."
yeah, the grunge blasting in the background. They take off. They get to the flight school, which is a giant tin hanger that says flight school.
Yeah.
They go in. They can't find anybody except there they are hiding in the lockers. Okay. Now,
Is
let me
this
just
the best
premise.
place you can have to hide?
Okay, let me just premise this. This is a hangar,
Mhm.
a metal sided structure,
Mhm.
very loosely called building.
Mhm.
Now, which is even worse than, say, a mobile home or a trailer, which we know scientifically is what the natural food source for tornadoes.
Exactly.
So, hanging out in a hangar, 0 points for intelligence. You're in the
Yes.
negatives there. You're done. So they find them. We've got a Sharknado is sighted for the first time. I'm not sure of the hour mark in the movie, but we see our first sighting, followed by our second sighting of a Sharknado in the background. It's just
Yes.
spinning around. This isn't Kansas anymore.
No, and I love this because as you're looking out at the tornadoes, right, and they're spinning, they're doing their thing, and
Yeah,
you see the little black cartoons that look like shark shadows going. I was like,
it was awesome because the one giant tornado spawned two more
"What?"
tornadoes. There are three tornadoes tearing up LA right now. It's pandemonium because it's totally plausible. They were like, this is where they were like, oh, scientifically, this happened in Africa where a water spout picked up a bunch of fish and it dropped it inland like I think it was 100 miles. That did happen.
Yes,
That's the science behind this. So this is totally plausible at
yes.
this point. They proved it.
Except for the fact that when the sharks hit dry land, they're not going to try to eat you. They're too busy trying to breathe. But
That's
it's a
that's
different.
possible, all right, but they're opening and closing their mouth. If you're close, they could get you.
Yeah, well, that's true. If you walked up and like put your foot in its mouth, maybe.
Which
Anyway,
we can't
that-
put past people not doing, because
this is true.
and right, people are
People-
still out there partying. So we've got what the Midwest doesn't realize is that this movie has discovered how you can destroy a tornado. You make a bomb
Mhm.
with flares and acetylene gas and some weird smoke detector. I'm not sure, and a smiley face. And you throw them into the tornadoes, and it'll disrupt that vortex, and poof, tornado's gone. And we're going to do this because we have a helicopter that we can use to deploy these bombs. Because
Oh, wait a minute. You have a helicopter, or you
a helicopter.
have four different types of helicopter all in the
Well,
same
yeah, we
shot.
shot when we filmed we forgot to turn the camera on, so we had to get stock footage of like the helicopter from MASH, and you know,
It's so funny because literally I'm going, and I rewound it
yeah,
back, and I started watching it, and I'm counting. There was literally three, for sure three, maybe four different.
yeah,
If you include,
totally different style. One was clearly probably a medevac chopper that was flying over while they were filming, and they were like, "Quick, shoot that!"
yeah, and literally like when they're showing them setting there, there's a wall behind them, right?
Right.
As she leans out to grab the bomb, the camera view shows her r- reaching back, and you can see the pilot from the back. The
Right.
wall's not there anymore,
It's
and
the
it's
same like the boat scenes.
helicopter.
It's like the boat scenes. We're looking out that way, but that way's really that way.
Yeah, and as Don would say, it's a helicopter.
And before we get into, damn it, Dan. So before we get in the helicopter, this is a part where now Matt, Finn's son, and Nova,
Yes.
who had a crush on Finn, are now kind of like getting a little friendly with the. So she can't have Finn. She's going after the son.
Makes
It's
perfect sense.
okay. The son is 30 years old,
Yes.
so we're okay there, I guess. Somewhere. Weird, but plausible.
Yes.
I guess they compare scars. Like she's got the scar on her leg. He's got this really terrible scar from falling down the slide.
Which looks like is like someone, no one stitched that, right? They just kind of like held it together and threw band-aids on
You had to live. You had to be like a running around kid in the 70s and 80s for those slides to get you. Those would leave the scars, man. If not, they would leave the third-degree burns, like to the bone,
Absolutely.
from sitting in the sun all day. So
That scar looked like it happened in the 40s.
Ooh,
With
a lot of scar tissue.
or on the battlefield using super glue to try to hold it together. That is
Yeah.
oh
It's
yeah.
terrible.
No.
This is where we get. Okay, I'm gonna bring this up as the joke that we've been getting through this movie is a lot of Jaws references
Oh,
coming
absolutely.
through this movie, and we hear of the story of Nova, why she wants to forget who she was, why she goes by the name Nova, why she doesn't talk about the scars. We know it's got to do with sharks, right? Because they've foreshadowed the hell out of this. She tells the story at 7 years old, fishing with Grandpa. Boat went down. She was in a raft, and everybody was swimming around the raft trying to protect her. And the sharks got them. Coast Guard found her, and from a bit from the late Robert Shaw, where it was that great line where he's talking to Hooper, where he was like, that was the time I was most frightened, waiting for my turn. I'll never put a life jacket on again. 1,100 men went into the water. 316 men came out. Sharks took the rest. Anyway, we delivered the bomb. And that's where her story is. 6 people went into the water, and 1 little girl came out. And now she hates sharks.
I love the line though. She says, "They took my grandpa. Now I hate sharks."
Now I hate sharks. And you've got Matt. Now I hate sharks too.
I hate sharks too. I tell you what though, her scars, which are perfect chevrons, by the way, absolutely perfectly. No, I'm like
Quint with boobs. Yes.
I had to put that up. It was, and she was not drunk the whole time she filmed it, as Quint when he filmed his. But
That's true. Details.
At least we don't know that she was. Let's put it that way.
So they go up in the helicopter. Matt's flying a helicopter because he knows how, and Nova's got the bombs.
Oh, okay. So here, just maybe I missed this. Right? He was learning to fly airplanes, was he not?
Well, he was in flight school, so maybe he was majoring in planes but minoring in helicopters.
Because just because you can fly one does not mean you can fly the other.
Two separate things.
Completely different. So here's my problem with this scene.
Okay.
Are you listening, Kelly? You could knock a helicopter out of the air with a big enough rock. But I'm going to fly it into a tornado.
Well, onto the edge of the tornado because they're clearly defined things.
It doesn't matter.
Listen, the tornado's clearly defined funnel if you don't go near the funnely part.
No. It sucks everything in. It's going to kill you. It's not going to fly. It doesn't work that way. I can suspend my belief for a lot of things. Okay. But I have a good friend of mine growing up who was one of my heroes. He's the man who was responsible for my love of Star Wars. Took me to see Star Wars the first Star Wars at 9 years old, and we talked Star Wars every time it came out and everything about it. Unfortunately, Phil just passed away recently. God God rest his soul. Such a great man. Such a great man. Anyway, nonetheless, he was Air Force retiree, and he and I had many conversations about helicopters because I've always been enamored with them, and he told me how they are absolutely nonsensical and should not fly. So when I saw the scene, I was like, you had that whole hangar full of airplanes to use, and you chose the helicopter.
Totally.
Okay.
Like you said, they
Chose
chose
the
four
four
helicopters.
helicopters.
Four of them. That's what made this work. And
See,
they had plenty. They had
what
almost
they
enough
didn't
bombs.
show us is as one went down, another one flew in. They just
Right.
jumped from one to the other.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
So they get the first tornado down. We get our first chainsaw kill. April has armed herself with hedge trimmers. Finn's got the chainsaw. Thing
When
comes
she
down.
picked up the hedge trimmers, I immediately started laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, no way!"
Anything that's got something sharp on it, we're gonna use it. They've got that going on. Here's the part where we've got an elderly home where everybody's hanging out in the water. There's tornadoes coming at the three of them. And they're like, "Oh, come on, it's time to get out of the pool." And the older people are like, "Fuck you, I'm not getting out of the pool." Okay, so it needs Finn and company to get in there and get them out, which is funny because they're like pushing these older people. You got to get out of here now.
Uh-huh.
And he pours gas in the pool and blows it up, so that way sharks don't go in it.
Because the sharks were already in it at that point. He was
Right.
killing the sharks that were
Got
in
to
it.
kill the sharks. It's now a flaming death pit.
Because as we know, fish can survive in chlorinated water.
Right. Well, it's just for a bit.
It's science. Again, small quotes.
I don't consider myself a anybody that has any real oceanic knowledge here, so I won't speculate. I'm just saying that the makers of this film probably consulted someone. We'll leave it at that.
So here's how that consultant went. You ready? And do you think would it be cool if we put a shark in a pool? Yeah, that'd be really cool. All right, let's do it. That's how it went.
That's totally plausible. So we've got that going on. We've got sharks flying. They've got the second tornado down. We've got sharks flying out of the sky. They're shooting them out of the sky as they're coming down. Her friends get messed up. I love the guy that's got a shark on his arm and his leg, and then gets killed with a hammerhead, flops on top of him.
I love the fact that they shoot them and they fall like they're birds flying.
It's great. It's like duck hunting. He's just like bang, boom, bang, boom. He was coming straight at me, but I shot him with this tiny little 45, and it changed the trajectory and went away.
And now you see them like this, and all of a sudden they're like just boom, and they drop.
Right.
Great. Great. I was like, oh my god, the laws of physics mean nothing to these people, and I'm here for it.
Right. They've got this entire. It's great because they get the entire old folks home into the lobby, basically, where we see a reporter get eaten on live TV, which it finally clicks. Like, we're in danger because there's a third tornado, and they try the bomb. The bomb doesn't go in quite right. It blows up. It doesn't stop the tornado.
Yes.
In that little bit there, we've got a shark comes up and latches onto the helicopter from the Sharknado, sorry. And Nova's trying to beat this thing off while Matt's trying to control the chopper.
Trying to do what?
Knock the shark off.
Off the helicopter.
Well, we didn't go that way.
No, because if it did, it would get an X rating, and
we don't want that.
Do it here on this channel.
We don't. No, we don't do that. So she's fighting off the shark, and falls out of the helicopter, straight right into another shark's mouth. She's gone. Damn it, DB. Damn it. Yes. Matt is heartbroken. No.
No.
You know, he's upset.
He's
And
known her a whole hour. I mean, he's
he's in
you know,
love with his
he's
dad's
heartbroken.
girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in love with my dad's girlfriend, and she feels so right. I just wrote a #1 hit right there.
So was I. And we've got one of these choppers. Obviously, one of the reasons why they went with 4 choppers had some engine problems because it's smoking. Matt's on his way down. Finn's like, I got to get to him. We've got sharks flying through Hollywood now,
Yeah.
landing on the Walk of Fame, smashing stars,
Which
leaving
I love the
imprints.
fact that I don't know if you caught this or not, but when that shark hit down and busted, it was right in front of Steven Spielberg's
Yes.
star, which I thought
Yes.
was a great touch. I was like,
Good stuff.
kudos.
Good
Mwah.
stuff. And we've got Finn running and making it to his son. April and them are kind of holding back. We had a moment where before he goes running that his daughter Claudia is like, I don't think you care about me. And he's like, I care about you. I came for you first. Remember that. So it's not always about his son. He loves both of his kids equally here.
I agree.
That's what we take away from this touching scene. Fast forward to Matt makes it okay. He needs to get slapped awake. He's awake. We're good. Finn's like, okay, I'm going to attach the bomb to my car, and I am going to take off as sharks are flying around. Gets the truck right into it, explodes, tornado.
Everyone knows what this means, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what this means when I go like this? It means hold on one fucking minute.
Okay. All right.
All right. So here, I love this idea, right? I love this. I was getting ready to bring this up. Ian wrote that scene, but
Yeah.
he's got the big bomb in the seat. He puts
Yeah.
the little bomb next to it to set it off,
Right.
knowing that the truck is going to take off and spin and tumble and all this stuff before it gets into the.
Because bombs are like magnetic. And they
Okay,
attract each
that was
other.
my question because the science I didn't know if
It could be that.
I didn't know if they were going to stick together and while they were flopping around in the inside or how that worked.
It
But
must have worked, man, because the tornado dissipates.
Yes.
Now all the sharks are just flopping all around.
Yeah.
One comes flying down, and
a great white.
great white swallows up our hero here. And
Yeah. Wait a minute. Our hero. Who has the greatest steel chainsaw known to man.
Absolutely. Could have been a Husqvarna.
Every time he pulls the cord, it starts on the first pull.
Even
Every time.
inside a shark.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's a freaking add-on right there.
I'm telling you, I think you have to pay extra for that.
And you hear the chainsaw. It comes alive from inside the shark, slits open the shark, and we see not only Finn be birthed through this mess of a shark,
Oh my God, what a great way to put it.
but he also helps birth Nova, who is passed out, and flops her on the ground. Guts and blood, and it's a mess.
It's a
And
mess.
he's checking for pulse, and it kind of writes her off. Like, he goes right to April. And Matt sees that he's got Nova. Like, we found the right shark, decided to go after Finn, that ate Nova whole, ate Finn whole. Chew your food, kids. Could always come back and get you. And he gives her mouth to mouth. Thank God. Exactly. She comes back to life. CPR brings her back. I really hate sharks is our line from Nova, which really puts it on. They remove the storm filter once again from the camera to show that the same clouds you saw before are good clouds now.
Yes.
They're no longer evil hurricane clouds.
No. Sharknado cloud.
Sharkicane
No.
Sharknado clouds. Right. And where Finn is now back with April, who kisses him. Sloppy kisses all around. Everyone's covered in shark blood or people blood. We're not really sure.
No, it's all a mix at this point.
We end with Finn. What a day.
Yeah. Um, I simultaneously hate this movie and love every second of it. I
Honestly,
literally have watched this movie 3 times this week. I've
mhm.
watched it several times before this week, and every single time okay, so just to, make a long story short, my wife has always worked 3rd shift, so she's up late, sleeps late. That morning time is my time to watch horror movies because she hates horror movies, and I can't tell you how many times I thought I have woken her up because I was laughing so hard at this movie.
This movie has the right amount of cheese.
It
And
does.
I hit at a time where Shark Week was really big.
Yep.
They were getting the last couple years they had put some real good hosts of Shark Week,
They
and this did wonders for that Discovery Channel, and that's why they had to eventually make that connection in 21. I think because it was part of that summertime craze of sharks, Shark Week, Sharknado. It became a phenomenon when it came out with its sequels.
and not only that, but also the fact that literally when this movie came out, there was no other movies performing at all. They just
Yeah,
did. Professor Macabro is correct. The first one is pretty awesome, but then they jumped the shark. And I will tell you this right now: I was glad they jumped the shark because 2 was absolutely, in my opinion, was much better than the first.
yeah.
And here's the thing that was funny is, they tried to get big name people for this. Ian Ziering was basically like a last ditch
It was not
effort.
their first choice.
Absolutely not. But everyone's turned it down. There's no way I want to do anything, with under a name Sharknado. That's the reason they changed it to Dark Skies before they approached some people.
Hmm.
And every one of those people were actually the ones that were toting how great this movie was and was actually kicking themselves for not being a part of it because of how it took off. It wasn't a major rating success,
Right.
but social media carried this movie to the point
Made it
that
run.
it became literally within 24 hours of its airing, it started showing up on every talk show, every morning news show. You could not get away from
To
Sharknado.
the point where our morning talk shows and our morning news shows were wanting to be a part of this. We had Al Roker in the sequels doing weather with the sharks. We had the cast of the Today Show being eaten by sharks. It reached out to so much.
You had Robin Williams and Cher doing a segment on a morning show where they got ate by a shark. You had
Right.
Kelly Ripa doing a segment on her show around Halloween where someone got ate by a shark, and Mike Tyson is using a shark as a punching bag, going, "Come on,
Yeah.
we can help you beat." I mean, this thing became
Everybody wanted it.
it became a cultural, and I don't know why, other than the fact that it hit. It was one of those things where it hit the pop culture at the exact moment that it needed to be what it
Yeah.
was. If
Yeah.
it would have been, a year later, a year earlier, no one would know what this movie is.
Right.
It's perfect, perfect, perfect. I love this. You mean the majority of the budget didn't go to pay the A-class talent that they're No, it did not.
Oh.
Oh
Well,
God.
it definitely didn't go into the CG because I have a program on my computer that could do those explosions as well.
Well, it's funny. I do some editing for our videos, and I've got a little section on it that says like transition comics, and it has explosions, and they look just as good as what we saw in this movie. The sharks, I don't think they made not one shark. Everything was done by computer, and it was so
They
man.
they they leaned into the terrible, like the
I had
beast,
to.
the BC side of it, and taking it seriously. And that I think the sequels did so well because of the comedy side that
Yep.
they really flipped the switch on. But this one being the first is what started it. And like you said, it was the timing. I'm not sure. It's that perfect magic thing that happened with
Yep.
them where it was a clippable movie. You could see scenes of those movies that you could be like, he hit it with a baseball bat, or he took it with a chainsaw, or a shotgun blast, or a pistol, or a bar stool. You had
I'll tell you how bad
magic.
they thought it was going to be is both Ian and Tara did not watch it on the premiere.
Right.
They were like, "This movie is just a write off. I can't believe I signed on for it." Blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, Ian said that while it was premiering, his phone started going off to the point that the battery almost died. He got over 75 texts. He had over 50 emails.
Right.
And he said, I had 120 people call me while it was on going, dude, what the hell is this? It is great.
Yeah.
You know,
Twitter. Twitter was a those hashtags really
5,000.
played a huge portion in this movie that
Mhm.
it took off. I mean, it was just one of those sci-fi doing it right, putting up, and the marketing behind this was at a perfect time. You had that marketing for Shark Week coming, and it rode that wave to where you almost thought, is it part of Shark Week? And it wasn't for years,
Mhm.
but you felt that it was because it was always played into that timing.
It, and Professor Macabro has a really good point. Asylum, the people who made this movie, their bread and butter is making
Schlock.
schlock, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, we say, right? We cover the good, the bad, what's hot, and what's schlock.
Right.
They're one of the kings of schlock out there. I don't know the exact titles, but I'd mentioned earlier they were talking about like a Titana shark versus something octopus. I mean, they made those types of
Right.
movies sci-fi. A lot of the sci-fi giant monster movies come through Asylum. And some of them are really fun to watch. Some of them you can't hardly sit through.
Right.
Sharknado, to me, is one of those things that, because of the cultural impact that it had, makes it one that you can watch, and I love that. And oh my God, Darren, perfect. Every dog has its day, sci-fi, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
Definitely.
So here's my question for you, Chris. I know who you live with, so you better be careful.
She's
All
not
right.
getting top 5. It's not happening.
It ain't. No, we're not even getting to the list. She's gonna be really. She's not gonna be happy with my rating at all. 1 out of 10. Where would you the Star Wise? Is it in your top 10?
But honestly, it hits the points. We were built up for a Sharknado. The word itself conjures what it is. So we get what we paid for when it comes to this
Exactly.
movie.
And,
It
and
being
what did you pay to watch it?
absolutely nothing. Sci-Fi Channel. Break down your cable bill is probably like $1 over the last month or something. But
Mhm.
oh, back then anyway. You know what? Cable bills are freaking crazy now. But anyway, uh, so it hits all the marks. It's definitely a 5. Coming from that, it's it's a good movie. It's a bad movie. It's a bad movie that's a good movie.
Mhm.
And it's important that it propels you into the sequels, which you get even more. So I'm gonna give it a good 7.5.
Oh.
I give it props because of what it became.
Oh.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Yeah, she's nuts. I can't even get to 7. Um,
I gave it I gave it the 7.5 because let's be honest, like Cassie Skirbo was the highlight of this movie.
yeah. Yeah. So, all right, I might have to go. Okay, so I might have to go a little extra because of that. Um, you know, for us, just so everyone's aware, for those of you who are new, it's just so you understand, a 1 is a miserable dredge. It's an hour and a half of my life I'll never get back. It makes me angry that I watched it. 10 is the thing. It's the nearest thing you could ever get to a perfect.
Transcends film.
Yeah, it's one of those movies. If it's a 10, I don't care if you're a horror fan or not. You need to watch this for its for its significance in to the
There's
genre.
several of them out there. The Thing is our best example.
Yes. And not only that, but Chris and I both agree that it is probably the closest thing to perfection ever put to film. Don't care what kind of movie you call it.
Right.
5 hits all the marks. So what we do is we start. If this movie hit all the marks that we expect, we start at 5, and then we add or subtract depending on what happens. So 5 is it hit the marks. It's a movie called Sharknado. It hit everything that a movie called Sharknado should hit.
Yep.
Because it also made me laugh myself silly every single time I've watched it. And that's watching it by myself. Had I watched it with the group, had, say, for example, Chris and Maureen and Kelly all watched it together, I might have even rated it higher.
Right.
Because
we would have had fun riffing on it together.
Exactly. So this movie has that perfect capability for that.
Yeah.
But I'm at 6.5, maybe. I'm leaning more towards 6. It's a little better than I anticipated. I expected fully the first time I watched it to hate it.
Right.
I still don't understand to this day how it got the cultural impact that it did, but I have to give it credit. All right, I have to give it credit on the star rating because of that.
Yeah.
So let's go from a 6.5 to a 7, right? Because it did have a cultural impact.
Solid movie. Yeah.
So I'm at a 7. That's as far as I can go on this one. I can't go anymore. I'm sorry. Sharknado gets a 7 for me. So there we go. So
good movie. Check it out. Press play.
Yes, absolutely. So that's saying that is this. Our shit list, which is the sometimes
hilarious yet intentionally
tasteless movies. As we had said, our perfection, if you will, is The Thing at number 1. Very close behind that is Trick or Treat. Where would you put? Okay, first of all, I have to say this, Kelly. It's not going in the front top 5. You might as well forget it. So let's just move down a little bit, shall we? I can't even say for sure that I'd
5.
put this
It is not.
No, I can't even say I'd put this in the top 10. This
Tucker
movie,
and Dale is way more fun.
yeah, it's not American Werewolf in London. It's not Return of the Living Dead, and it's definitely not Tucker and Dale. So top 10 is it's out of the freaking question, Chris. I don't know what Flat Hunt is supposed to be, but okay, whatever. It's done this several times.
Dawn of the Dead keeps jumping ship on us.
It does, and I don't understand why.
Maybe because it's not happy with where we put it. But
apparently, it's like it's going motherfuckers.
Listen, we also call this our shit list because it went to shit really fast when we started rating things. And you know what? We're sticking with it.
We're sticking with it. So the question then becomes to you:
if you put it above They Live, I slap you.
Yeah, yeah, and I like this. Did you see this?
Right. Yeah. She's been saying that from the beginning. She would probably, if she had her way, she would kick the thing out of 1. And
I love you, Kel.
I love her.
But no.
Poor sweet summer child.
All right. So let's be realistic about this.
So realistically, we have our fun schlock sitting down here with Zombievers, Frankenhooker, Prince of Darkness. Prince of Darkness, that's more of a fear. Frankenhooker, Zombievers, straight schlock.
I don't see this movie as being better than Frankenhooker. Personal opinion.
Personally, I would say Frankenhooker sits above it. I would be okay with it sitting on either side of Frankenhooker.
I personally would say it needs to go right below Zombievers or right above Zombievers, right there. But I also like it better than Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I like it better than I would put it. Darren said before Frankenhooker. I would say before or after I am okay with.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's go. Let's see. Here we go again. Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but also this list is for some reason it said that Viking Wolf is now Gorilla is a poet. Maybe
Odd.
maybe it's not happy that we didn't get it.
Listen, producers for these movies, you're just gonna have to deal because this is where we put them. You know.
Yeah, yeah, because it's our shit list. And all right, so I love Sharknado. I like it better than um, I liked it better than Thanksgiving. Okay, so we know it's going to be above that.
Yeah.
I liked it better than April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I will say I liked it better than Ginger Snaps. I know Ginger Snaps is a classic for a lot of people, but
Yeah.
it's for me, it's just whatever.
It did something great for the genre
Yep.
by switching up a werewolf story. Absolutely, definitely
I'm
worth a
I'm
watch.
really close on Zombievers because Zombievers and Sharknado.
Zombievers was fun. However, we did rank Silent Night, Deadly Night above Zombie Beavers. I
Which,
think it's better than Silent Night.
all right. Yeah, I think that what if I could move the list around, I'd put Zombievers in front of Silent Night, and then we would be happy with Frankenhooker, Sharknado, Zombievers all back to back.
Yeah,
So Kelly says that this should be number 2, and that Zombievers should be number 3. Now we know what kind of movie that.
oh, this is one thing we used to do from way back. We love throwing in some ridiculously terrible movies, and we have seen some ridiculous, terrible movies.
Yeah.
It's fun, and it has its place. But when it comes to the list, we want to say to personally where we think it is. It's not better than our top 10.
No, it's not. And it's funny because some of the movies that we may have rated with a higher rating may be lower than this movie, but this list is literally like let's look at the list as a whole and go, okay, where would we put this in comparison to other movies as far as rewatchability and so forth. And let's face it, Sharknado and Frankenhooker both have about the same quality production.
Yeah.
Um, you know, um, like the Gate number 17. Maybe not. Oh, by the way, just so you know, I saw terror threads online.
Yeah.
It's watch out t-shirts.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, I might need to jump into one of those. Anyway, I like the movie Better Watch Out a lot better than most people.
It's
Just
fun. It's Home Alone if you have a dark, twisted sense of humor.
yeah. So Sharknado right behind Frankenhooker. You're good with that.
I'm good with right where it's at. Frankenhooker's then Silent Night. You would put. Oh, see,
I'm sorry.
everybody has their opinions on that. But yeah, I'm good. Frankenhooker and Sharknado.
Okay, fair enough. I'm good with that also. To me, Frankenhooker is Frankenhooker. The reason for me it goes above Sharknado really is this: it didn't have that public cry out that this movie had. This one
Right.
had that movie was a nothing, no name, and then all of a sudden it just grew and
Yeah.
grew and
It's that,
grew.
that cult following.
Mhm.
When it comes to Zombievers and Sharknado, I think they're equally fun.
Yep.
I would recommend them about the same, just because it's ridiculous, and sometimes that's what you need, man. Life is too serious to
Yep.
take serious all the time. So
Yep.
make some time, watch a Sharknado, watch a Zombievers. In this case, Sharknado hits those marks as far as
Yep.
we go.
Yep.
I'm
Um,
happy with number 20.
I am too. And Professor Macabro, LG, Darren, I've seen you, everybody's putting their opinion in. I'm great with that. I love the fact that you guys think that we're wrong.
Yes.
That's awesome because this is our shit list. Because once we started going, we knew it was going to turn to shit quick.
Right.
There's no way to ever satisfy everybody.
And we want to fill this list up too. So down the line, we felt that, where we put them, we could always move them down. And then you start moving things and you're like, well,
You know what?
It's there.
Yep.
And
So we then came to the conclusion that once we put it on the list, that's where it
it's gotta
stays
stay.
till something else comes along to replace it. And I guarantee you, once we get to 100 movies, there's going to be people look at this and go, and they're going to be sending
They're
us,
all over.
well, you people are crazy.
Right. And you would be correct.
And you are correct. Yes, sir. Um, so that's Sharknado. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the group tonight, Chris?
Sharing with the group. All right. Hi, my name is Chris. I like horror movies. Right, exactly. As the great George Carlin said, my rules, I make them up.
I make them up. Exactly.
That's the case with our shit list. No, I would thank everybody for coming into the chat today. Stopping in and listening to this. If you listen to this afterwards, think about trying to check us out on Thursdays when we're live.
Yes.
Hop in on the Talking Dead, our chat. Yeah, go check out bio.link/graverev. Like I said, it's a link to all of our socials, all of our links. Like I said, hop in, say hi, say you guys are ridiculous and out of your mind, and you'd be correct, and
Yes.
we'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will say that um, that's a great point, Professor. We have found though that the horror community is much more forgiving than say like the Star Wars community.
Right. We all have feelings about movies being remade and whatnot, but I think the horror community's actually been you go into that Star Wars fandom and you say the wrong thing, whew, he's got a whole bunch of Twitter idiots after you now. And listen, you like what you like, I like what I like. Everything is subjective.
Yes, it
And
is.
and you know what? Sometimes we're gonna turn you on to something that you would think you'd hate, and you'd actually find a little joy in there.
Absolutely, and the fact that we come together as a group. Chris and I both love what we do, by the way, um, and we love talking about horror movies, as you guys have seen. Um, so someone asked, it was Darius asked what. And I'm sorry, I didn't do it. Hello, how you doing, Darius? What are you up to? Anyway, next week is my birthday week, and so for next week we're going to do the '80s classic. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to me.
So that was my pick for my birthday because I remember seeing that film as a very young man on the movie channel and loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it,
Nice.
loved it. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here tonight. I have not laughed at our chat room that hard, and I can't tell you how long. I honestly said, our Talking Dead are some of the. It's the best chat on the internet. And I appreciate you guys for being here. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to leave a comment. And please, please, please let someone know. We're trying to get to that 350 mark. If you help us get, or I'm sorry, 250 mark. If you help us get the 250 by the end of the month, we're going to do a drawing, give away some really cool stuff. So please join us in that aspect and get the word out.
Yeah, share it out. 250 by the end of May. That'd
Yep.
be great.
It would
awesome.
be great. Yep. And that being said, as we like to say all the time on this channel, signing off. Everybody have a great week. Until we meet again, we hope all of your nightmares are groovy. Have a great night, everybody.
It can't rain all the time.
See you Tuesday when we talk The Crow.
See ya.